What if I told you there are certain items that go on to sell on eBay for big money in the for parts and repair category? A lot of sellers will often throw away these faulty products, but it's the smart sellers that know that these can go on to sell for some great money, often at times being more profitable than working items. It doesn't make sense though, right? Why do they sell so well? Well, firstly, there's huge demand. There's a lot of people out there trying to buy specific parts to repair their item at home, and you've also got repair shops that are looking to buy these items in bulk as well, and they fix them up and they go on to sell them for a decent amount of money. So there is really big demand for people out there on eBay searching specifically for the parts and repair not working category. So you can have a huge advantage by listing into that space. There is also less competition as well, right? Like I just said, a lot of sellers will see their item as broken and they will think there's no value in the item, so they won't even bother to list it up onto eBay. You get a huge advantage when you say to yourself, I know that there's actually some decent money in this category, I'm going to choose to list mine up. And also too, there is obviously going to be less hassle with this process. You can go out to these thrift stores, garage sales, demand a really low purchase price because the item isn't working. You don't need to test it when you get back home. You can simply list it up into this category and you've got these pool of buyers out there waiting to snap up a deal, and you could still make a really good profit. So it's for these reasons that I want to make this video today, to break down the 10 best-selling broken items on eBay that can still go on to make you some really good money. Item number one, we have video game consoles. Now, I have an example here of an Xbox 360 that I'm currently listing up for sale for $59.95 plus postage. Now, this one here should go on to sell in a pretty quick space of time, even though, as you can see there, this thing is pretty busted up, and you can often get some really good price points for this category, and it's not just the Xboxes. It could be PlayStations. I've got an example here of a Sony PlayStation 5 that went on to sell on bids for $390. We've also got a big lot here, which often happens where you've got these repair shops looking for these big lot bundles. We've got a Game Boy, GameCube console bundle there, even with some Pokemon games selling for $370 in parts only condition. An Xbox Series X selling for $358. There it is there, faulty as is, Sony PlayStation 5, $355. So even the old school vintage stuff can do well, like the Atari Lynx 2 selling for $357. So I could keep scrolling, guys. It is some really, really high price points on items that are truly not working, and somebody out there is going to go ahead and fix them up, sell it for even more money. That $350 Xbox might go on to sell for $600 in brand new condition once it's been refurbished. So absolutely a big one for me when I'm always out there looking. I'm trying to buy these things for no more than $20 because I can generally get between $60 to $100 in the console category of any make or model in a parts only sort of condition. So it's a huge one. I definitely think you guys should be looking for that regardless of whether they're working or parts only. The next one I've got for you guys is phones. I've got the phone right here. This is just an old phone that I had lying around the house that I no longer needed. I do often go out and I look for Apple phones. If I can find them in garage sales, I'll often ask for a very low purchase price, but they can go on to sell for some great money. I've got a few examples here of, again, a bundled lot of 6 of them, I believe, or 5 of them, selling there for over $100 there on a best offer. We've got the Apple iPhone X selling for $82 on a bid. And again, with the phone category, a lot of phone repair shops out there that are trying to source these items. So you're often seeing around that $100 price point, $20 each for the mobile phone. But certain phones like this one here can fetch a good price just simply on their own. So do a filtered search in the for parts not working category and just play within that category to check your price points on what your item might be worth. And you'll be surprised, the phones can do really well. Item number 3, we have the laptops. Now, laptops can do really well in all makes and models. I'm not going to specify that Apple MacBooks are the absolute best to go with. It can be literally any form of laptop. Can generate a great return. I've personally sold a few laptops in my time. I do generally work with the Apple products because they are the most in demand. But if we have a look here, you'll see here that there's an LG computer going for $450 in parts only condition. This GPD Pocket 3 laptop as is $435. The Dell Precision 5,550 going for $410. So this is a really big category, guys. It's not one to say no to. I would definitely look out for your laptops. They can do really, really well. Item number 4, I have an item that I am hunting down all the time, and that is this one right here. We've got the old school VCR. These things often don't work, and a lot of times people think that they're just too big and bulky, that's going to be an issue to go ahead and ship it off. and they don't even know how to test it properly because they don't have a VHS tape. Now, for myself personally, if I don't plug it in and have it turn on and working, then I'm immediately going to go ahead and list it up for parts. Now, when we check out the price point on some of these, the best ones to try and find are the combo players, the ones that convert VHS into DVD. If you can find those, they've generally got 2 different insertion points on the machine. You can generally make a few more dollars, and you'll see here with the top of the sales, $149 plus $23 in shipping for the Panasonic DMR EZ48V. So definitely check the make and the model of the ones that you have. But as you'll see here, this NEC NDT43 selling for over $100 with postage included. So even though they aren't working, a lot of these items are still going on to sell for over $100, which is pretty cool. Item number 5. I have this one here, the Pentax camera. This is the SBO 140M, and I often grab these because people don't even like to use the old vintage cameras anymore. Well, I mean, some do. It's collectors out there and enthusiasts of photography. They do like to still take photos with these old vintage cameras. But what a lot of people actually like to do is they'll use them just simply as a display. So they'll put them on a bookshelf and just show off these old vintage cameras just because they look cool. So people don't need them to be working to go ahead and buy them for a display item. They go onto eBay and they just try to find these sorts of things for a cheap price. So you can be buying this for $5 to $10 not working at a flea market, and still for a display item only, have it go on to sell not working, make yourself $50 by selling it for $70 or $80. It does happen, and I do it quite a bit, although I am obviously looking to try and find the working conditioned items because they're obviously going to fetch a higher dollar. But it's always a nice backup plan to sell it for parts only. That's cameras, but what I've got here for you is just a look at the lenses, because they're the other really good area that you can look into. Just the big fat lenses. Look at that one there. That's massive, and it was selling for $390. The Canon EF 100 400mm lens. This one here, Canon, I mean, Canon's a really good brand. As you'll see, all of these sales are Canon lenses, so there's a bit of an intel. This Tamron 70-20 or 7200mm going for $256 on bids. So proof is in the pudding right there, guys. Cameras and lenses, definitely a big ticket category to look into. Now, before we get into the next item, my girlfriend Kate has been giving me a really hard time lately on my cooking skills. So in the hopes of having her see an improvement in my kitchen abilities, I've been taking some secret classes thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Cooking has always been an area of improvement for me, and Skillshare really has made the learning process super easy. They're the largest online learning platform for creatives, with thousands of classes on everything from video editing to photography, design, and business. When I signed up, I told Skillshare my interests, and they instantly recommended me classes that matched my goals. That's how I found the Scrambled Eggs Cooking Masterclass by Jenna Edwards. This class taught me everything, from cracking the egg on a flat surface instead of the side of the bowl, to gently stirring the eggs for a nice puffy presentation. And now I think Kate's going to see a real difference in what I serve her up for breakfast. Skillshare has classes for all types of learning. Last month I learned how to improve my video editing, and next up I'm going to learn how to play the guitar, which I see they have a class for too.
Why are you watching me eat?
Because I just want to see if you like it.
Did you change what you normally do?
Yeah, I've been learning on Skillshare.
Ah, yeah.
So if you've been wanting to learn a new skill in 2025, Skillshare is the place to do it. Now, the first 500 people that use the link in my description will get a free 1 month's trial of Skillshare, so you can get started today. A big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Item number 6, we have Apple AirPods. I've got some examples here of some price points that were pretty crazy to do the research of. $80 for these AirPods with their charging case, and the next one under that, the left earbud only, selling for $75, which was just crazy. $70 as well on these Apple AirPods. So ultimately it is a good space to just look for the Apple product. I've got an old iPod here that I'm trying to sell. This one here isn't working either, and you can get about $20 to $30 for that one too. Now, this is another category that I love to try and find, and that is the Dyson vacuum cleaner parts. It doesn't need to just be Dyson, but Dyson definitely is the premium brand when it comes to vacuum cleaners. A lot of people trying to search for them out there in working condition, or even just for parts like this head that I've got got here. I'll go on to sell these quite regularly. Look, there are a couple of other vacuum cleaner brands that do go on to sell well, but if you can focus on the Dyson, you generally get a quicker sell-through rate from my experience at least anyway. So if we have a look at some of the sales that we're looking at on eBay, this is just a generic term of vacuum cleaner, yet all I'm seeing is Dyson parts coming up in the comps. And you're seeing around 50, 60, 70 odd dollars for all of these vacuum cleaner heads. And then you've got this one here for parts only, $50. And you've got a bit of everything as well. So people might only need one piece to fix their item at home, and they go ahead and they buy this for $50 and they've got the job done. You'll see there vacuum cleaner parts for maybe a repair shop to go ahead and pull apart all of that vacuum cleaner, take what's working, throw away what isn't working, and then repair other models. Could be potentially what's going on there with that purchase for $35. With the vacuum cleaners, if you were to search a brand new vacuum cleaner like a Dyson, whatever, an Animal V7 or something like that, they can sell upwards of $1,000, $1,200. So it's a really, really interesting category to get into because they do quote quite a high price point. So even in pre-owned or even in not working condition, the numbers are still so high in this category, and it's been a real eye-opener for me over the last 5 years selling on eBay to play within this space. So whenever I'm out and about, I'm always checking the electronic sections to try and find anything relating to especially Dyson, because that just seems to do well. Item number 8. I wanted to put this one in because I was looking into some research around the price points and they were unbelievable. I'm talking DJI drones. These drones that I've personally had in the past myself that I've had to go on to resell because you needed a drone license and I couldn't put the drone shots into these YouTube videos. It was so frustrating. So I resold mine in working condition pre-owned, but I remember I did have to pay a lot of money to get my hands on it initially. So I just did some research. I thought, well, what if they aren't working? What about parts only? And if you have a look here, that's still selling for $329. The DJI Mavic Pro 4K right there. We've also got this one here, a bit of a different brand, but still selling for $300. And then you've got this one here, the Phantom 4 Faulty, still selling for $235. So you may find at a house or a garage sale a $50 drone that somebody's trying to sell. You could do some comparative research, and even not working condition, if they can't guarantee it or you weren't able to test it and have it go on to work, you could still buy it for $50 and sell it for $200 on eBay pretty comfortably from the numbers that I'm seeing here. Item number 9, I have another item that I have found a number of times in a thrift store that does typically cost a little bit to ship off, and that is coffee machines. But coffee machines can still go on to sell well even in not working condition because they're quite an easy item for a lot of repairers out there to be able to fix up and touch up. So I've got a few examples here. I've got the Breville BNE 800. This one was selling for $149 for parts only. This Gaggia Classic Coffee Espresso Cappuccino coffee machine selling for $102.33 worth of shipment. And then you've got the DeLonghi, a brand that I have sold a few times before, the DeLonghi. That was selling for about $100 on parts there. So it doesn't matter what brand it is, DeLonghi definitely pops up quite a number of times, as does Breville. Yes, it is a little bit of an expensive one to ship off, so do be mindful if you are going to try and sell something like a coffee machine for parts not working and maybe you're quoting it up for like $50. Chances are the shipping is going to cost you $20 to $25, and that could really hurt you if you've had to buy it for say $15 to $20 to begin with. So always use the e-profit calculator. There is also an ebook that I have available that I'll let you guys grab. It's just linked in the description below. It's the process of working out sell-through rate and whether or not you should go ahead and buy an item, whether this is pre-owned or whether this is not working. It's called the Thrift Ninja. It's a sourcing guide. It's going to help you guys out a lot in trying to find these sorts of products. So go ahead, the link is in the description below for that. But the last one that we've got here is another one that I really want to have a chat about because I found through my own YouTube experience here, I'm always buying microphones. These little microphones, they go on to do really well when they're in working condition. So I thought to myself, well, do they do well in in not working condition? And well, I've seen an example of the one that I've got here, the Rode Wireless Go 2. It was still selling for upwards of $100 in 4 parts only condition, which was just really cool to see. I've got this one here as well, a vintage microphone, an AKG D19. That wasn't working. It does say the Beatles Ringo mic, so there might have been some collectible nature regarding that to do with the Beatles. That's still gone on to sell for $62 on a few bids as well. So you can work your way down. You'll still see for parts only there are a number of sales in this category as well. So I thought I'd add that one in as the number 10 category. A lot of really good items here, guys. I'm shocked. I did not realize that there was going to be such a high price point until I did my research. So make sure you're checking this sort of thing out. You'll be making yourself some pretty good money. Now, there's going to be a few different places to look for these items, and I think the best point of call for you guys will be to check out Facebook Marketplace. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share, and I'm going to give you guys a bit of a run around of some of these categories that we've been talking about to see if we can just try and strike up a deal or two in some of these categories. So my first search is for a VCR player. And we've got a number of different price points right off the bat here, fairly cheap. We're looking at $45, $45. This one here's at $35 and it's been marked down. So that tells me it's been up a while. It's been up for 8 weeks. So it does say it's in condition, used, fair. It's been sitting in a box for 20 years, switches on, but assumes it needs repair. Fantastic. So this is the sort of item that I think that we could go and sell for parts only. If we go and check out eBay, it looks as though there's some models around about the $100, $125 price point. So if these are all in pre-owned condition, there was one that was an exact match for $120, but I can't seem to get a search for parts or repair because there mustn't have been any that have sold for parts or repair of this model. So for that reason, we can only estimate that we're working on a best price of $120. So maybe we could sell this on eBay for around about $60. So if we're going to do that, I probably want to buy this for maybe $15. And he's up here offering 35. So we're going to list offer a little bit less than that. So I'm going to go into the messages. I'm going to say, hi Ben, would you take 15? It's been up for 8 weeks. Would you take $15? I can collect today. Just pulled up a search listing here for a bulk parts only phone bundle. We've got $150. It was listed 5 weeks ago, not far from home. And it says that they're selling all the remaining parts only devices from my former side hustle repairing phones. They vary from an iPhone 3 to an iPhone 7, none iCloud locked, which is good, as I unlocked each one as I received it. All unlocks done with Dr. Phone subscription. So all of these are Apple products. This was previously a refurber that had gone through and bought each and every one, no longer in the game, and we can now go and buy these and service them to people that are still in the game of repairing phones and sell them off for $20 to $30 each. Now, at this buy price of $150, considering it was 5 weeks ago and they haven't sold, there are 11 of them there. We're talking about $13, $14 odd dollars to get our hands on one of these phones. So I'm going to sort of message her here and say, if we're getting 11 phones, I might say $120. Hi there, would you take $120? That way we're paying about $10 a phone, so worth of a buy price, and then we can go and try and sell it for $30, $35. Would you take $120? I can pick up today. So after doing a bit of research and going into all of these different categories, my thoughts on the entire process is to use this parts not working situation as a bit of a backup plan. I still want you to go out and try and find everything in working order, but rather than throwing away that item like a video game console that you thought was going to go on to work, just have it in the back of your mind that you remember watching this video and you can still go on to sell them for parts not working and salvage some of your money back. Going out on Facebook Marketplace or thrift stores deliberately looking for broken items to resell, I just don't think it's the most efficient way of maximizing your return for the work that you're putting in. But one way you can maximize your return is by selling small items on eBay, because there's not much in the way of shipment costs. Luckily, I have made a video here which is the top 10 small items for you to be able to sell on eBay, and I think those items are a much better way to focus.